the biggest thing that I see, this is the number one question I always ask every stage, every room kind of walking into, and I'm like, how many of you guys need more leads, need more opportunities? 99% of the room raises their hand. Yeah. Now, the next few are the people that are like, dude, I got enough leads. I just need to know how I need help converting, right? I got a conversion problem. And so those are the top two things, because most agents, they know how to fulfill. And then if you can just shift their mindset a little bit, like, hey, you're not done until they send you a referral. They're like, oh, okay, I need to love on them a little bit more. Yeah. So the biggest two things is traffic and then conversion. Mm-hmm. But it's always about traffic, man. It's always about demand. It's always about creating opportunities, because if you can do that, that fixes a lot of problems.
It's funny the way you explain the whole conveyor belt thing, and it's very, I never use the word conveyor belt, but I do explain, like inside of the academy, I teach it very similarly, like a production line. I'm in Michigan, so we're like all about cars, like we build cars.
Yeah.
So, a little differently, I don't have four things, I have three. The way I look at it is attraction problem, attraction system, conversion system, and retention system. And retention starts from fulfillment. Like you're gonna keep someone, you gotta start from, like, as soon as they become their client, you gotta act like to keep them forever, right?
Yeah.
For me, retention starts even before you even get to closing tables far. If you don't do the right things, you're not even gonna keep them as a client. They're gonna leave you to go somewhere else, right?
100%.
So even that, but that's amazing the way you broke that down. Now, what would you say? What are some of the biggest mistakes agents make when trying to build a real estate team, like go from production to leveraging? And I don't really like the word leverage, but let's just say leverage, leveraging people to start building a business. And how can they avoid them?
Yeah, I think they do it too quick. It's the old, hiring out of pain instead of out of gain, not being intentional, not knowing what they're going to do. I love Dan Martell's book, the Buy Back Your Time book, to where he really breaks down to get into the productivity quadrant. Dan Sullivan has a similar, understanding with unique ability, and but understanding that I'm trying to put myself in a position to where I'm spending 70 to 80% of my working time doing what I'm the best in the world at, that makes us, the company, and myself, the most amount of money, but also gives me energy, doesn't rob me of energy, right? We've heard do the time audit, but do the time and energy audit. And what Dan Sullivan talks about is unique ability and excellent activities. The only difference is a unique ability is something that gives you energy. The excellent activities are the exact same, but it doesn't give you energy, and it necessarily doesn't rob you of energy. So for example, you may be world-class on listing presentations, but it just doesn't give you any dang energy at all, right? It doesn't really rob you of energy, but it doesn't like excite you. You're not like even energized after it. And so, but you are a little more energized having a conversation with an agent or a broker that you're trying to recruit into your organization. Got it. We're still going to put you face to face because that's the most dollar productive activity, but it's going to be talking to agents instead of talking to sellers. Yeah. So that's kind of the distinction. That's a little bit of the difference. And so it's always about getting the right who's in the right order. Yeah. I think understanding too, you only have so many dollars to put the best team on the field. So I think the evolution is now utilizing VAs all over the world, because the beautiful thing that came from 2020 was it unlocked the global workforce. Yeah. And so finding, what it is that you're needing based upon your weaknesses that you're trying to find people to complement you. You only have so many dollars, leverage the global workforce. Yeah. And then now kind of the evolution of kind of where we're at is you better be leveraging the heck out of AI as much as you can to help you, but also help the key people that you have to collapse time. And so I think, to your point with leverage, it's knowing your worth and then starting to, as soon as you can, putting the right pieces, the right who's in place, a little bit before you're comfortable with. I remember, you know, when Kinder brought me back on in 2004, he told me at the time, and he told me, you know, many years later, he's like, dude, I couldn't afford you. But he goes, I couldn't afford not to have you.
Wow.
And I think that's the key thing in understanding, is that you got to make that, just, you'll never be ready, but when you're about right there, when it's a little uncomfortable, make the hire. Because if you get the good people around you, they're going to pull the things off of your plate for you to reallocate your time. That's going to help drive the business forward. Remember, we want to be doing things that we're the best at, that helps the company move forward, helps your business move forward, and does not rob you of energy. That's what we're trying to get to. And then it's just building the components around you to allow you to get there.